I remember at age 11 looking out the window of the airplane, scanning the landscape for a monument, specifically the Colosseum, not seeing it and being a little disappointed, but still my heart was racing. I was finally there. I had landed in Europe. I had always been a curious child, always interested in traveling, as many of us are from a young age, so it was amazing to finally see it in real life. I was looking at Italy. I remember being so excited that I was pulling on my mom's coat saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's get our suitcases off, and her turning to me and saying, stop it, we have to wait for the other people to get off the plane, you know, Emma. And I understood, but I was shaking in my pants, so excited to get off and explore the new landscape. I had taken Latin now for 6 or 7 years, so I was quite acquainted with the language. I was so excited to put my skills to use and impress everyone in our tour group. However, despite being this very curious child about traveling, I was very scared to go anywhere alone. I always needed my mom, hence my arm pulling at her coat all the time. I didn't like being alone. I felt like an only child, my siblings being 10 to 15 years older than me, so I stayed close. At the time, my dad was coming in from a different country. He was on business. He flew in to meet us later. My mom got up to get off the plane. Finally, I was so excited. As I grabbed my suitcase down, began rolling it through the thing of the plane, I was almost at the door waving goodbye to the flight attendant, even though I didn't speak her language, when I heard a crash. I turned around thinking it was someone's suitcase that had fallen off of storage. It was just an automatic reaction, turning around to the sound, of course. And it was my mom, or lack thereof, as she was lying on the ground, completely motionless. Now, my mom is disabled, and so are my siblings, so I was always used to a little bit of a risk when traveling. My mom was not a fan of long plane rides. She got very claustrophobic and was very nervous about injuring herself on the flight. And now, because I was so young and so scared of being independent and by myself, I panicked. It was terrifying seeing my parent lying down still like that, and I had no idea what to do. I ran over, and I guess the thing that scared me the most in reflection was all these people screaming at me in different languages. I'm sure it was mostly Italian, but in my head it was practically like I was in a sci-fi novel with aliens screaming at me. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew is that my mom was on the ground and that she wasn't moving. However, it ended up with my mom coming to a hospital. She was totally fine other than a pretty severe concussion and black eye, but needless to say, she was able to get up and walk around afterwards. I remember being so scared trying to explain to the doctors what was going on in English while they simply stared at me, looking sad for the poor little girl who was so nervous and did not speak a wink of Italian. Of course, I knew Latin, but the Aeneid wasn't going to help me very much in modern day Italy. At the time, I was so nervous waiting for my dad to arrive that I completely forgot about all of my excitement about visiting Rome. I forgot about our reservations to see the Colosseum. I forgot about the exciting walk down into the catacombs we had planned to take. I forgot about the delicious pizza and pasta I had been looking forward to for so long. All I cared about was that my mom had fallen, and I was so scared that she wasn't going to be okay. Now, I don't want to make this a sad story. My mom was totally fine, and we did end up having a fabulous vacation. It was an amazing time that I got to spend with my family. My dad eventually arrived and was able to take care of everything, figure out the insurance, and communicate with the flight attendants and EMTs using a little bit of Google Translate handiwork that I was too nervous to figure out. But what I really learned about this whole experience is that I had become an independent traveler. My whole life, I'd had this curiosity, this desire to travel somewhere and do something and see the world, but I was always too scared. I was always standing behind my parents, even though I was a pretty tall child, as I am a tall adult. But I was always so awkward and so terrified. But this experience really did bring me out of my shell. I was forced to try to communicate with people I didn't understand, walk places by myself without my mother, and take care of a very serious situation. And in that, I became a world traveler in that moment as I took care of my family.